Good evening and welcome to Meldon Law Monday. I'm Buddy Martin, the host of this show, and the ones on Tuesday, well, not Tuesday, because Loren Meadows is hosting Wednesday and Thursday as well. Welcome to the program. We have lots to talk about tonight. It's going to be some football, but mostly basketball. You have to wonder how long it's going to take these Florida Gators to get their just due. They're going to get the number one seed. We're pretty sure of that. And next Sunday when they have selection Sunday. But what a week for the Florida Gator basketball team. Big wins. And also Auburn, Alabama. Oh, yeah, by the way, folks in Auburn, Alabama didn't notice, but Florida did beat Ole Miss, just in case you missed it. And the Gators are playing on fire. How much? Well, we're going to ask Shane Matthews, who's standing by right now in the orange and blue room. Also, Florida's officially named another assistant defensive coordinator. I don't get it. They need a lot, I guess. I can't pronounce his name. I think it's Abala, B-A-L-A. We'll talk about that with Shane. What does it mean? Well, we don't know, and we probably won't be able to know after spring. But it's moving that direction. It's getting time. It's tournament time right now. SEC is coming up next. We've got our usual suspects tonight. Todd Carter joins us, Franz and Loren Meadows, who was out at the DJ Lagway event at Spurrier. Stand by. It's the Buddy Martin Show. Tell your friends and neighbors we are on the air.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye!
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening and welcome to the program. I'm Buddy Martin, standing by Shane Matthews. I want to remind you folks that Florida is going to earn this, if no other way, because the respect will not be given. By winning, they'll get it. Many of the individual awards are starting to come home now, unless they totally bomb out of the SEC in Nashville this week, which I don't think they will. And if they did, I'm not sure what happened. They will be a number one seed. But where and who they play next week, we don't know. It's still up for grabs. We'll talk to our Franz about Mr. Gator basketball about that. They crushed Ole Miss last week by 19. But many to me, they were so enamored with Alabama beating Auburn, they hardly mentioned and hardly noticed. We'll talk about that with Shane. There were a lot of signees today in the free agency of NFL. Well, maybe you get a word about that. Scott Carter comes and tells us about things that are going on all Gators, especially the DJ Lagway thing, which we'll talk about. Franz will catch us up with some hoop, and then we've got Loren Meadows coming on. He'll be at the Lagway event, and we'll get his take on what went on there. By the way, I thought, a classy thing that Lagway did when he gave all that money last week to the women's basketball, women's sports, which I think is terrific, and I think that's the kind of guy that, one reason they like this guy so much. I think even Shane Matthews would agree with that. Good evening to you, Shane.
What's up, buddy?
Did you hear about? I didn't get a chance to hear much of your show this morning. I was tied up with other things. But did you hear about the? I'm sure you did, the gift that Lagway gave to the program for the name of the women on Women's Day.
Yeah. I joked around about it, saying I wonder if he put a note in there that my girlfriend gets all of it, because his girlfriend's a softball player.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So I know you probably played a lot of golf this weekend, unless you got rained out. And then you also, I'm sure, kept up with what was going on in the world of softball, a little bit of baseball. What'd you talk about on your show today? Shane Matthews' show, by the way, put up with Matthews every morning at 8 a.m. And right here on these channels. So wherever you get your podcasts.
We talked a little baseball, a little softball. We talked a little basketball. We talked the Arnold Palmer Invitational down there at Bay Hill. What happened there? We got the players this weekend. We talked a little bit of everything, quite honestly.
Yeah, I watched that event at Arnold Palmer. A young man and his family making an impressive appearance there, and of course, on to the players. They already started talking about that tonight. I watched some of that from Ponte Vedra, my old home ground right there. So Florida finishes 27-4 the regular season. Bruce Pearl is the coach of the year. He said he voted for Todd Golden, who was snubbed. You have a problem with Golden not getting at least a vote or two?
Well, I'm sure he got some. I didn't see the stats from that or who voted for what.
Bruce Pearl's, yeah.
Bruce Pearl's, he deserves it. I think Todd deserves it. I think Mark Byington from Vanderbilt deserves consideration. I do not think Todd Golden gives one care about it unless he has some bonus in his contract of being coach of the year.
He does. Yeah, he does.
Yeah. But look, I don't know if it's the media. I don't know who all votes for it, buddy. He's deserves it. I think you can say Bruce Pearl deserves it as well, though. They're going to be the number one overall seed probably.
I'm not saying he doesn't, nor am I saying that it should have been Golden instead. I think it's to continue on, though, and I've called out a few people on other programs I've appeared with, and I know I sound like a Gator homer. I'm just saying, when you beat both those teams that played, and that was a heck of a game, I guarantee you, and they're talking about all the other teams, and Florida hardly ever gets a mention, and certainly they played terrific in the 19-point win over Ole Miss. It seems like nobody really believes yet, maybe this team. They're going to have to prove it, and I'm sure they will. It'll be an incentive for them to do that. But I'm just wondering about the blindness of some people to say, well, I think people are starting to say, wait a minute, these guys might be pretty good. Alex Condon named SEC Player of the Week. Also, you had Walter Clayton named All SEC First Team. It didn't say which team. It was on the site of Gators. I think Alex Condon got a third team, whatever, SEC. Yeah. So the individual awards are starting to come in, and I don't know. Do you think it will? I don't think even if they lost in Atlanta that they'd lose on one seed. I'm sure it'd be Nashville. Do you?
No, I don't. I don't, buddy. I don't go on a lot of shows. I don't watch a lot of talk shows or listen to them. I watch a lot of basketball games, and everybody that I hear in games I'm watching thinks the Florida Gators can win the national title. So I don't know who's not giving us respect. I'm not sure who those people are because I haven't heard of anybody not thinking the Gators are one of the top 4 or 5 teams in America.
I hear what you're saying, and I'm not necessarily talking about what the other announcers are saying. I do other shows, and they're sort of Alabama-centric, and everybody's got their own myopic view of things, and these are people that are pretty objective. I just think it's easy to overlook the body of work, and I think
I will say this. In regards to Alabama and Auburn, their strength of schedule is better than the Gators.
Mm-hmm.
They have more quad ones, wins, and all that stuff. Did Florida beat both of them? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But none of it matters because I think any 3 of those teams can win the national title.
I agree, but it doesn't matter when you're doing a talk show. And that's what we're doing right now, talking about these teams and trying to split hairs and see. I give credit to where credit's due. I'm not saying Florida necessarily needs to be the 1 seed here. I just think the whole national media was slow to come around to Florida. And I was talking to one of the guys on SEC sidelines who's from Alabama. His kids go to Florida. And he agreed that they sort of – anyway, they'll all even out. They win. They get there on Friday. They play. We don't know if they're going to go out west. Probably they will go out west. We'll get this in Franz later on. But it is an exciting basketball season. And I think it's fun. And I'm going to tell you, Alex Condon is everything I've always wanted him to be. He was one of my 2 favorite players from day one, from the jump. No pun intended, because he's such a nightmare to match up with. He's so physical. When he plays physical, he's just hard to stop. and especially when he's shooting the basketball and making threes. He is an amazing player and fun. By the way, last week he averaged 22 points, 12.5 rebounds, and 2 assists in wins over Alabama and Ole Miss. He's starting to play back to his normal speed now. He's a banger. He gets in there, he'll definitely give you a bang or two in there. So really enjoy watching him play. All right, what do you know about this new co-defensive coordinator, inside linebackers, his name today? His name is Robert, and I'm not sure if it's Bala or Bala. Somebody help me out on that. He has now come to the fore. He's part of the team now, and I guess they
hired that guy like 3 weeks ago.
Well, they just announced it.
Oh,
they just announced it. So I mean, they announced Bubba. They hired Bubba Spurrier too, but they didn't want to announce it. So anyway, this guy. He got coached the Washington Huskies to a Sun Bowl appearance. I'm just trying to get familiar with him. He had a couple of good linebackers out there, all Big Ten, honorable mention, whatever. He's very humble to be here, and he obviously thinks he got a chance to make a difference. Anyway, I'm just trying to get a feel for it. You think it looks like maybe they're getting their staff in order. How do you like it so far?
I don't know much about them, buddy. I think the team is it's going to be Billy's most talented team he's had since he's been here. I really believe they're going to be very good on offense, and I'm going to say it like I say. The entire year to me will come down to the front seven of defense.
Mm-hmm. What are you hearing about that? Anything? You have people on shows?
I haven't been in any practices. I've only, they've had, 2 practices, I think, Thursday and Saturday, and they're not even pads. I mean, you're not going to learn anything from spring football. Some guys are in black jerseys, meaning no contact, and we won't know anything until we suit up for real.
They're talking a lot about Cormani McClain, about his weight he's put on, conditioning he is in, the way he's playing. That's among the players. I've seen a lot of articles about that. And apparently this guy is, when he's right, he's right. They could sure use him in the secondary this year, and a guy who's got 5-star skills. So that would be a big, big get for them if he comes through like they're hoping he will.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunities for different guys in the secondary. You got some guys returning. I think Devin Moore, he's coming off an injury. Dijon Johnson's coming off an injury. I think both of those, if healthy, those are your 2 corners.
Yeah.
I don't know how healthy they are right now, or how much they're participating in spring.
Yeah. Oh, you go out there sometime and check it out?
I might. The days they practice on aren't good for me, but I'll try to get out there eventually for 20 or 30 minutes.
Still some lingering comments about DJ Lagway's injury. I noticed Allie Peak Wilbur, who'll be on our show Wednesday night, talked about it, a little bit about it. She didn't think it's much of anything. She thinks it might be much ado about nothing. I don't know. We've had some other our friends in the media say some things about it. Mark Long of the AP wrote it was a cover-up. I guess I hope I'm saying it right. In reaction is I'm not sure what's what, but he is not throwing. What does that tell you? To me, it's like when they see a guy's on a pitch count. In baseball, in the old days, sore arms were a big deal. Pitch counts were a big deal. And back then, reporters used to go down and count pitches and see what was going on. And the guy was suspect. Sore arms were, everybody had one, it seemed like. So I don't know exactly. Do you know which part of the arm was sore? Because some people say this just showed up. Do you remember him having a sore arm at all before?
Yeah, they said they mentioned it a little bit last year. I don't quite understand it, quite honestly. This is just my opinion. I think this is not directed at DJ Lagway. This is at like the new age quarterbacks, right?
Okay.
They do all this training and different arm work exercises and stuff to try to keep from having arm injuries. And I really believe it causes arm injuries.
Yeah.
We used to throw 200 to 300 or 400 balls a day, buddy. And I don't remember any, and I don't like to go back to the Spurrier era and talk about it. I don't remember any of his quarterbacks having any arm injuries because we didn't do all that stuff they do nowadays.
Right.
We did form throw until we were loose.
Yeah.
And that was it. And we used to throw hundreds of balls. I don't know what's going on. I think it's odd that your quarterback's not throwing balls in spring football.
I do too. That's why I ask it.
Yeah, I don't quite understand it. And I understand if he is hurting, you don't want to make it any worse. But
right.
If he was having this issue during the season, I mean, we played Tulane before Christmas, right? Like December the 20th.
Right.
I don't know. I have no information on it. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out, but it certainly is an awful lot. They're giving me a hard time for saying ESPN said all over Florida, some of the best teams. I know all that. I've heard it. You don't understand. I'm not talking about necessarily one network. I'm talking about people in general, and I've had confessed to me by other maybe media members that they were slow to come around to it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not complaining about them not getting any. I just think the realization, by the way, and it hasn't been that way all season. So don't tell me it has. So let's just see if they have awakened and perhaps done that. So Dan Bond says Bruce Pearl, SEC Coach of the Year is a joke. I don't agree with that. Do you?
I don't know if it's a joke. I think Bruce has done a phenomenal job. I think Todd, they could have had co-coaches of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, let's see here. Dan Bond points out the gymnastics score at 198 again. Perry Mason said DJ Lagway is a class sack. Impressive. Yes, he is that. And who won Bay Hill? Russ Henley. What'd you know about him?
He's a Georgia Bulldog. He's a really good player. Hell, he almost won last week. Where were they last week? At the Honda? Yeah.
Yes.
Down in Palm Beach. He had a chance to win that and had a couple bad holes coming in. But he's one of the straightest hitters on tour. And he's had a really good year. And, they got a lot of Georgia freaking golfers on tour.
They do. They got a bunch of them. I have to ask them how they got all those players. I'll talk to the former athletic director one of these days. So one guy suggests I'll retire. Nature Gator says I should retire. Okay, I'll see you guys. I'm going to retire right now. You got it, Shane. Go from there. Then he said, just kidding, buddy. Look, I'm not going to retire. I'll be here till they carry me out on a wood plank, and I get the privilege of that because I own the show. Okay? So I'm not going to retire. I'm going to do it as long as I can. And thank you for Dan Bond for your comments. Yes, so let's talk about Russ Henley. Nice family portrait at the end of those with his three kids. My wife was very impressed with him. He hit, as you said, hit the ball last week. Now we got the players coming up, Shane. I don't know who I like. Looks our boy Scotty can't get his game under. You need your touch of that golf course. He's been very successful. They won the last two. But, hey, I mean, Players Championship, I've covered 100 of them, and I can tell you, this too. You've seen them. And it's just some funky places on those greens out there. But it makes you still as exciting when they go to 17. So you have a player that you like this week? Since we're going to talk.
Gosh, who do I like this week? I like Hideki Matsuyama.
Yeah, he's been all around it.
I don't know why, but
he's played good.
I think Wyndham Clark or Justin Rose, somebody like that's going to win. I don't know who the favorites are.
Yeah.
Probably, can't count out Ludwig Oberg either.
Oberg is really, Oberg as you pronounce it, is really a great player. I love his swing. Boy, does he look good or what. I'll tell you a guy I'm going to pick. Colin Morikawa. He almost won it this year. He's playing good again. I think this is a golf course you can play. So I'm going to pick Morikawa. We'll see what happens. But fun to be doing. All right, let's take a little break. I'll tell you about our Sponsorship. By the way, we're looking for sponsors for our basketball coverage. We'll have more about it. Franz Beard intends to be in Atlanta, falls well at his house with his family. And we will be covering the Gators on the first round, wherever they are. You think they'll go out probably go out west, won't they, Shane? San Francisco, more than likely.
I mean, I think a lot depends on this week.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let me tell you about our friends. Talked to Jeffrey Meldon today. He's out in Colorado. He'll be back soon. Meldon Law business is really doing well. He does a lot of advertising, including on this show. He does a lot of good things for the University of Florida, which doesn't go unnoticed. And people like that. They like him. He's trustworthy. If you want a lawyer, I suggest you look into him and look into his firm. Your son, Kerry, or one of the Meldons over there. Give him a call. There are 4 locations to serve you. That would be Ocala, Gainesville, Williston, and Lake City. They like to say they won't back down. They won't. Meldon Law, they won't back down. Hey, Shane, let me ask you about positions. This team that we think, the football team we see coming up, he's going to run the football again.
Mm-hmm.
One thing they have been able to do is run the ball quite well for what they've got. And the offensive line is now being hailed as one of the strengths of the team, something we didn't have. They've got experienced guys coming back. They'll be one of the best offensive lines. If they can run the football, look out for DJ Lagway, because they're making a lot of noise to those receivers. Everybody's raving about those young receivers, the coaches, everybody. So I think that's something that we can take into consideration right there. If they run the ball, look out.
Yeah, I mean, I like all their skill guys. I think you're gonna see what we did last year with DJ: run the football and throw it down the field. And you got a lot of guys that can go. The key is we have a lot of highly touted young guys.
Yeah.
How do they play in live action?
Yeah.
You knew you could turn on the tape and see what Elijah Badger and Chim Dike did because they came from playing college football. Majority of our high-profile guys are coming right out of high school. They're extremely talented. We'll have to wait and see, but I think we're going to be very good on offense.
Maybe defense. We'll see. Let's ask this guy about the defense. He gets to see it a little bit more than we do. Let's see what he's got to say for us tonight as he checks in tonight. The great Scott Carter of FloridaGators.com. What's up, Scotty?
Hey, guys. How are you, man?
We're doing okay. We're just breaking down this defense, offense. Who is Robert Baylor, or is it Bala? How do you pronounce his name?
Baylor, yeah. He's the new coach, officially announced today. I mean, there's no limit on coaches, buddy. You can have as many coaches as you want now.
I know.
He's a guy that's been in the NFL, spent some time at Washington, college, Washington. So he's been around the block a little bit, spent some time at Bama. So a guy who Billy Napier had some connection with. So, yeah, he'll help with the linebackers. And that's what I know right now. I haven't actually talked to him yet, but he has been around the first couple of practices.
Yeah, so his defensive staff is set. Like you said, they can have 100 coaches now if they want to. They got one for every player, I think. And the sense that you get around the building there where you work, do you get the sense that they like what they really – I mean, not just like, but do you think there's some excitement about the defensive staff now?
I mean, I do. I think they have to have that excitement. I did ask Ron Roberts after Saturday's practice about – a lot of people think this Florida team is ready to take the next step. He's been around the game a long time. I said, what do you think? And he says he thinks the pieces are in place. He said basically they didn't live up to it last year. He said he thought that they had the players last year, but they didn't start off well, and they got behind the 8 ball, so to speak, and they turned it around at the end. But, I mean, you don't have to be a football expert to know when I walk out there now, guys, and Shane may have mentioned this earlier, like Vernell Brown III, for instance, he's a guy that I have no doubt would have contributed to last year's Gators team. So he's a different kind of freshman. They're starting to get some of those guys again. And you have to have those guys if you're going to compete for an SEC title or a national championship. And so I do think they're getting more of those players. And that is a good sign. Whether or not they're ready to put it all together, I think the biggest question mark will be DJ Lagway. I mean, how's he going to staying healthy and progress and making those strides that you want to see out of a sophomore quarterback? That is going to be the most important part of this team, obviously.
Speaking of Lagway, Shane and I were talking about unusual have a young quarterback on a pitch count and not throw the ball in the spring. What do you think is? I mean, there's obviously a sore arm there. What do you think the strategy is behind that?
Well, I think he had a shoulder issue last year. He also has some kind of lower body issue. Billy's kind of nebulous in discussing it, so I don't know the whole story there, buddy. But I think they like to call it body maintenance nowadays.
Oh, really? Please.
I think they're giving him some body maintenance. It's not ideal, obviously. You'd like to see him be able to go through the full spring, but at the same time, it's not alarming to me. I mean, he's going to have all summer to work out, throw balls to these guys, and then be ready for fall camp. But it was a little bit of a surprise when Billy dropped that last week, obviously.
That's what me and Shane need, some body maintenance, right, Shane?
I could use some for sure.
Yeah. So let's you and I, Shane, for a minute pause and say, if we were making evaluations saying, here are the 3 or 4 things I'd like to see this team do on the defense next year, I can start by saying tackling better. I have confidence based on what I'm hearing from people, they are tackling better. What other things besides getting the right number of players on the field, what can we come up with, Shane, that we'd like to see the defense do more of and do it better?
Oh, man. I guess maybe get off the field. I mean, I go back to, I'm trying to remember, it just seemed like LSU and Ole Miss went up and down the field on us a bunch, right? I mean, they both had almost 500 or over 500 yards of offense. We did a good job not giving up big plays for the most part, kind of the bend but don't break. I think, and again, that could be our plan as coaches, knowing we were limited at certain places. Let's keep the ball in front of us, go up and tackle, make them drive the length of the field. Do we change that? Are we more aggressive? I don't really know, right, buddy? I need to see us play to kind of see what we have out there. And but I think this team, as I told you at the beginning, this is clearly the most talented team Billy's had.
So we got get off the field. We've got get the right number of players lined up. And we got.
I'm not worried about it. I don't remember us not getting people lined up last year. Did we not do that on?
No. Well, there were a couple of penalties.
Well, that happens to a lot of teams.
It just seemed like they had more than a share of those. I'm just saying the things you want to see get rid of. I mean, I'm just bringing up things that bother me the most are those. I hate those kind of penalties. So Scott, what 1 or 2 things on defense would you like to see change?
Well, I think when you look at the games that, the Gators did not play well, I mean, it goes back to what Shane said, getting off the field, but they got themselves in the hole in those early games to Miami and Texas A&M. They just couldn't make any kind of important stop. And, I mean, to win those big games, you have to stand up, not just in the fourth quarter. You need to take control early and allow your offense to get a lead a little bit in those big games, because that's something the Gators didn't do until the end of last year when they won those LSU and Ole Miss games. So I think just getting off to a better start, I know that's kind of a wide-ranging one, but I think it goes game by game just to have a lead at halftime. And I really think that one of the biggest changes, I mean, was when Ron Roberts did go up into the booth. He talked about that on Saturday after practice. And he said basically – he's going to do that again. He likes being up there a lot more than being on the field. He says it's like watching film. He sees the game better. He communicates better. I think that will help everything from game 1 this year, because, it was just out of sync early last year. We all saw it. And then they made those strides once he kind of took over and went up to the box. And, it's a small thing, but in the end, I think it was a very big thing.
Well, I think the other thing too, buddy, is not just with defense, but this is offense.
Yeah.
I felt like we waited till about game 6 till we started playing our best players.
Yeah, you said that a lot. Get your
Way
best
too much
players.
damn rotation going on.
Yeah.
Pick your best players and go win the football game with them.
Yeah, I think it. And some people might say that's basketball with all the players that Todd Gold's got. Franz disagrees with me. He says you can play 10. But I think I'd get down to the 7 years, gets to 7 and 8. Speaking of France, and by the way, I think one thing Billy has benefited from somewhat, I believe, is this attention distracted from the football program by the basketball team, not to mention the baseball, and of course the softball program. And the question is, how much is this going to? It's like the rising tide raises all ships. And there's a lot of excitement about this basketball program right now, as Franz Beard always talks about. And guys, I tell you, somebody's got a TV on somewhere. I don't know where it is. Whoever's got the TV on, turn it off. So it's yeah, Franz has got to do that. I think there is excitement like I don't remember it since Billy Donovan in basketball, and it's fun. It's great to watch. The players are exceptional. I look forward to watching them play every game, and they carry this momentum, if that's the right word, Franz, up to Nashville. And this team is, as you said all along, is really, really good. And you wrote today, maybe the best team in the country, Franz.
I think they are the best team in the country right now. And I'll give you 2 examples. Duke has not played a team that was ranked at the time. Now, Clemson is ranked now, but they haven't played a team that was ranked since December 4th when they beat Auburn up there in a home job where they got 27 free throws and basically played no autopsy, no foul defense, and Auburn got called for touch fouls. I watched that ball game, and it boggled my mind how one-sided the officiating could be, and it can be, and it's like that a lot at Cameron Indoor Stadium. There's a reason why the Blue Devils are next to impossible to beat at Cameron Indoor Stadium. They get the calls. Happens a lot. It happens at Rupp a lot. That 20,000 fans on top of you makes it hard sometimes that those judgment calls kind of go big blue. But Duke hasn't beaten anybody. I mean, the ACC is a joke this year. They haven't beaten anybody.
I mean, Auburn, but as you said, it was a one-sided game.
Houston lost to Auburn. Houston lost to Alabama. I got to tell you what, Florida beat both those teams. Florida beat Auburn, and I think if Florida played Duke, I think Florida would kill Duke. I think right now Florida's in a position that if they come into a game focused and healthy, I think they're going to beat everybody. And I think that they're very, very capable of doing it. Now, I'll also say this, and I said this on a show this morning. We got to remember something, that sometimes losses bring out the best in you. I know a lot of people say losing, nothing good comes out of a loss. Florida lost 3 games in a row in 2006. Then they come back and they beat Georgia, and then they beat Kentucky on Senior Day. Go 3-0 at the SEC tournament, 6-0 the rest of the way. But they had 3 losses, and those 3 losses really, really changed the dynamic of the team. They got refocused, and they began to play like they should have been playing all along. I think the Georgia game had that effect on this team, and I would not want to be the other team that is playing the Gators right now.
Yeah, it's tough to get into the officiating, although there is a site that evaluates. I didn't know this. Franz told me.
Ref Metrics.
Yeah. Shane, I know you don't like to get into it, and Scott, I don't like to talk about officials because you can't win, but there has been some really tough games out there this year with some calls that you wonder about. And do you think, and I'll ask you all this, starting with Shane and Scott and then you think basketball is more that way than the other sports? Is it more in the hands of the officials, Shane, in basketball than any other sport?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, look, you can call foul on about every damn possession if you wanted to. Really, it's just like you call holding on every play in football. It's just it's not an easy. There's not a perfect science to officiating. I don't get caught up in it because I feel like it usually works itself out. Well, I mean, have we had bad officiating against us? I mean, I watched a lot of our games. I haven't really thought about it.
Scott, what's the word? Go ahead. Let Scott jump in, then you finish, Shane. Franz. Scott, your thoughts on the officiating session?
In basketball, your question, officials, it seems like basketball is probably as subjective as any of them, but I don't know. I've never been one of those to complain a lot about officials. As long as they even the calls out, your team is always going to get a couple of bad calls a game. You just hope that the refs recognize it and the coach can sway a couple your way. And that's really the best that the officials can do. I mean, they're going to make mistakes. They're human. And I like that part of the game, although it's, when it goes against you, nobody likes that. But I don't know. Franz is probably a lot more in tune with the officiating than that, because I'd never heard of refmetrics.com until about 30 seconds ago.
Me neither. Well, Franz has too much time on his hand to be looking at refmetrics.com.
Franz is a busy man. He's getting ready to pack his bags and go cover basketball. Go ahead, Francis.
Here's the deal. The other night, did everybody watching that game Saturday night start thinking the last 10 minutes were an endless parade of free throws? I did.
Yeah, I hate that part about basketball.
I absolutely hate
the last 2 minutes of a game can last 38 minutes.
It's ridiculous. They got to stop that. It's killing the game.
40 free throws in the last 10 minutes. Okay. Here are the officials. The lead official was Steven Anderson, number 7 in the country in most fouls called per game. The second official was Mike Nance, who showed up looked like his belly's as big as mine. And he's number 13 in the nation in most fouls called per game. The third official was Todd Austin, who's number 14. Okay. I rest my case.
So these guys, they love their whistles, is what you're saying.
Yes, they are. Here's the thing. If you get to a ball game, and unless you have a team that tries to turn every game into a rock fight, and you have teams out there that do that, they come out there like Houston comes out and try to bully you and beat you up from day one. That's Kelvin Sampson's MO. Ever since he was Lacey Gaines' assistant coach at Pembroke State University, it was his dad's MO at Red Springs High School. I know the Sampsons quite well, but that's their MO. But unless you get that, I'm telling you what, most games, you should have a little bit of an edge at the end if it's a close game, because they're going to foul. They're going to try to foul to get back in ball games. But in most games, the foul calls are going to be within 5, one way or the other. They're either going to be 5 plus, 5 minus, one way or the other. When you get into games like Duke with 15 more free throws than the other team, or any game like that, it's either a case of you got a team trying to turn it into a rock fight, or else the officials need to swallow their whistles a few times.
Yeah, we've had that discussion with Don Rutledge quite a few times. He doesn't believe in swallowing the whistle. But I want to say this, that this is absolutely destroying the game from the standpoint of the viewer. And it's not just the calls, it's the delays. Everything is reviewed. The reviews take 2 and 3 minutes. And like you said, it takes 30 minutes to play 2. And it's just, we're going to discuss this just one more time. I'm going to tell you about Titan MRI, and then we're going to come back and say, can you please help me on this? What can we do to do away with this craziness of this expanded last 5 minutes into another half? See, I want to tell you about Titan MRI imaging. Now, Titan MRI imaging is called Titan MRI imaging, acquired high field MRI, Joe Colorio, and he started Highfield in 1997. Now he's back. Titan MRI Imaging now has 3 locations, serving 2 in Gainesville, with its Park Avenue location now at the Millennium Center, and 1 in Lake City, serving all of Columbia County and Valdosta, Georgia. Titan MRI Imaging offers the same great customer service as before, except now they do accept insurance. So check them out. Titan MRI Imaging, located in 4 places, and soon to come to Ocala. Titan MRI and Imaging. All right, guys, help me out. Let's get this game fixed here. We got to do something. I heard the guys I say today, and I agree with it. Let's go back down to the old challenge thing where each coach gets 2. And quit stopping the clock 30 times in the last 20 seconds. Scott, help me out. What can we do to fix this game?
Well, I mean, I do think it's probably going to have to go back to challenge system, because if you do review every close call in basketball, I mean, you're going to have a lot. And of course, when the intensity ramps up and the game's on the line in the last 5 minutes, they're going to try to get it right. But it does kill the flow of the game. It kills the buzz in the arena sometimes. Certainly, as a viewer, you have plenty of time to go to the bathroom. That's the only good thing I can see. But I mean, in all seriousness, so it does impact my enjoyment of some of these big games when they just look at every single questionable call. So I don't know, guys. I mean, I wish I had the answer. Probably going to have to go back like a challenge system, like a couple of folks on your thread here said.
Yeah. Let's go to Shane now. Let him get his milk and cookies, go to bed, because he has to get up at 4 a.m. to get his show going. And then we'll let Franz finish something up. Shane, got any ideas about that?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. There's only challenges when it's under a minute in the end of the basketball game, or if it's flagrant or for elbows to the head, things of that nature, or for goaltending, or if they need to go back at the next dead ball to see if a guy's foot was on the 3-point line. Look, it doesn't bother me. I guess I understand if they do it too much, but you're never going to change basketball with all the timeouts and how long the last 2 minutes of a game lasts, because teams are going to foul to try to get back in the game. I just don't know how
There's got to be a way to fix it. Please help me.
Well,
all right,
but here's the thing. You probably think of it differently if your team's the team's down trying to foul to get opportunities. Yeah. So, I mean, it's part of basketball. It always has been, right?
Yeah. I don't like it. It's getting worse because they're reviewing every little thing. I mean, that was a goaltend. Something we can see clearly it wasn't.
But see, goaltending you can't review until there's timeout on the floor. Anyway.
I understand, but it's true. I like that rule.
But here's the international rule. We need to go to quarters where you got 5 fouls in a quarter will eliminate a good bit of the fouling.
I like that. Yeah.
The second thing is an international rule we need to develop is this. I get fouled, and you want to foul my worst free throw shooter. In the international rules, I got the option to take the ball out of bounds rather than send the guy to the foul line. That eliminates, okay, you want to foul my worst foul shooter? Fine. I'll get the ball in bounds and you can foul him again. This way, we stop having the incessant foul calls like there. And I'll give you the third thing that needs to happen. And that is, it doesn't need to be like sumo wrestling out there. Eliminate, and here's how that can solve that problem. And it's so simple, buddy, Shane, and Scott. Okay, you set the tone in the first 5 minutes of the ball game. If you reach and grab, if you shove people, we're going to call the fouls, and all of a sudden you're going to have 5 guys with 2 fouls each on the bench, and all of a sudden I can't play them the rest of the half. Do that for a week, and guess what happens? People start, but it starts with the officials there. The officials have to take control of the game. And the only way they're going to take control of the game is this. Okay, if you want to let it be sumo wrestling, then so be it. But I don't think that benefits the game. It was a better game. It was a better game back when it was more of a free-flowing game, and it is not a free-flowing game anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
And it would benefit the games considerably because we got better athletes than we've ever had.
True.
Give them a chance. I mean, my gosh, I don't mind a game if there's 28 dunks in the ball game. I love it when guys dunk the basketball.
Yeah.
But how am I going to dunk the basketball if I go up and I know I'm going to get body slammed?
Yeah, good points all. Let me get Shane get out of here. Shane, who's on your show in the morning?
Buddy Martin and Jeff Cardozo.
Jeff Cardozo, I'm looking forward to some good baseball talk. He does a good job. I like his.
They got a rough week ahead of them. I mean,
who they got?
Fun.
They beat up on poor little Harvard pretty good, didn't they?
Well, I think me, you, Scott, Franz, and a couple other media guys could have put it on the Harvard Crimson. But this week you got the semis and the Vols, so it should be a lot of fun.
Only two undefeated teams left.
Yep.
So it's going to be a tough road trip. But we'll see.
Yeah. Gotta get that pitching going. All right, Shane. See you in the morning. Thank you, buddy.
All right, fellas. Have a good night.
All right, thank you. All right, so in our remaining minutes we got here, let's talk about these exceptional basketball players. We've all seen the 04s and the Billy Donovan teams and how well they play. This team seems to hold a special place in the hearts of Gator fans, as I'm sure we remember the 04s and guys did too as well. But they just have something about the way they play. Those three guards, those three senior guards, what a night that was for a senior night for those three guys coming out of there. And you could tell what emotion was packed in there. I just don't know how good this team could be. And I'll tell you, I'm loving watching these guys play and develop. Every one of them, even Chimalu, it looks like he's becoming really a big factor. In fact, he's playing great right now. And all five guards are playing well. I mean, it's great. Franz, you've seen a lot of this. Scott, you've seen a lot of this. I just think this is a wonderful, talented team if they just don't get sidetracked and get whacked, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, you're 27-4. That's going to endear yourself to Gator fans, right? But I do really like the way they play. I think they have the nice combination of pieces. I think people, our fan base guys, let's face it, it's been starving for a big time winner, with football, basketball, and baseball. The last national championship was 17 in baseball between those sports. So this team looks like it has a real chance to do that. You got to remember, Florida basketball hasn't made it to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament since 2017. So it's been a while, fellas. I mean, that was when the Chioza hit that shot and they were up in New York at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, what a night. What a moment.
So, we aren't used to that kind of a drought here. So I'm as excited as anybody about what these guys can do. And I just feel like they've got everything that you need in college basketball to win it all. They've got the size, they've got the defense, they've got the score, they got the guards, they got the big guys inside. They've got a really good coaching staff. They're modernized the look at the analytics. They play to their strengths. They can take out the opponent's strengths with their strategies. Like I said, I think they've got it all. But we all know you got to go out and on the court and do it. But if they win it all, like Franz said earlier, I'm not going to argue. I think they might be the best team in the country right now as the tournament starts.
I mean, people are afraid to say they aren't because they if they explode and play the full capabilities one night and everybody's sitting on it. I mean, they blew out Ole Miss by 19 and didn't even play that great. It's just amazing what they can do. This is going to be fun to watch them grow. I wish they had them all back one more year because that would be really, really interesting.
Oh yeah.
Play one more year. Let me just say one thing before we get back to the subject. I ran across the guy I want to mention tonight, and he's a guy that there are people around, and I want to talk about Dan Hurley too, that a guy named Robert Dotson, he's the former president of the Gator Club here in the Panhandle. I had lunch with him. He's doing a heck of a job. This is not a huge Gator area, as you know, because it's split up by Alabama and Auburn and what have you. But there are some Gator fans here. They do a terrific job. And I had a chance to visit with him. He said they've kept it together for a few years. They don't have that many meetings, but they have great guests. Guess who they got as their guests? Billy Napier, Todd Golden, and Danny Werfel. I say not too bad, right?
That's
So
pretty
I
darn
want to
good.
shout out to Robert Dodson and for enjoying his lunch. You'll be hearing more from him. He'll be coming over here, Robert Dodson of Lynn Haven. That's at Panama City, and he was the captain of the Panhandle Gator Club. So looking forward to collaborating on some things with Robert in the future. And Franz, if the stars are all good, we're going to get you up to some of these games. We're still looking for help from sponsorships. If anybody would like to would be a part of this. I forgot we got Loren Meadows standing by. I got to go get him. Sorry, Loren. I made all this trouble. There he is. He's been out gallivanting tonight. I'm sorry, Loren. I got to see you in there, buddy.
I'm all right, bro. How y'all doing?
But good. Well, how was the event at Spurrier's?
It was good. It was a really nice event, kickoff event for the DJ Lagway Foundation. Get my mic closer. And just really nice event at Spurrier. Spurrier's has kind of become the be all end all for Gator events, and Florida football is basically renting out the whole first level for recruiting events. So shout out to Freddie Wiebe and his team for just putting on another great event. DJ Lagway was there with his family, a lot of close friends, some of the Florida coaches, some teammates were there. They had an auction, had a silent auction as well as a live auction where they auctioned off some artwork, cruises, but everything to benefit UF Health. And, just really shows the person that DJ Lagway is becoming, him endearing himself. I think the rumors of his departure were vastly overrated. If you look at the investments that this young man has made in the past 3 days with giving a 6-figure donation to women's sports, as well as this kickoff event with his foundation. So, a lot of good things coming from this young man. And, just really not just, his play speaks for itself, but from a social aspect and an impact, he's really starting to endear himself to the fan base and to the community as a whole. They had the band there, marched him in and kind of did a little Gator walk, and Coach Spurrier was there, said some words. So just a really nice event and really a great way to kick off the DJ Lagway Foundation. And I'm sure there'll be more things to come from DJ Lagway and his group. And, and I know he wants to involve his teammates as well. Guys like Miles Graham were there, DeAndre Robinson, and guys like that. So I think, he has some guys I think he's going to involve from a teammate standpoint as well. So just a really nice event. And obviously Spurs is always first class with their presentation. So that just continues as well.
Who else did you see there?
Everybody. Well, we saw, let's see, there was Rocco Underwood was there, Miles Graham. Congratulations, new Santa Fe head coach, Ernest Graham was there, that's good. Jabbar Jaluk was there. Let's see, Chad Lucas, the assistant receiver coach, was there as well. So just guys there, obviously. Coach Spurrier and the wonderful Miss Jerry was there as well. As well as granddaughter McKinley Spurrier. Got to give McKinley
shout out.
Give her a shout out. So so really, really sharp young lady, by the way. Shout out to McKinley Spurrier. Bubba and his wife doing a great job with her. She was I said, "How you doing, young lady?" She said, "Very pleased to meet you." I said, "Wow, that's so." But just the usual suspects. What's our guy from Titan MRI, Joe
Calorio.
Joe Calorio was in attendance. Various people from Florida Victoria. So just all the major players in this thing that we call the community aspect of building a program and a brand. I got to spend time with his quarterback coach from Willis, Texas, JP, who, it's kind of interesting. A lot of people wonder what makes DJ Lagway tick. And I said, what did you send DJ away with, or what did you tell him you need to work on? And, the first thing he said is, first thing I told him is to find a church home when he got to Gainesville. So, very faith-based family.
Yeah,
dad is very humble. Mom is very salt of the earth. She didn't want any pictures taken of her just let the attention be on DJ. And, he's really got a nice village around him. That village now extends to Gainesville. So I told somebody jokingly, he better be good because, there's a lot of people that expected a lot of good things from him. But, yeah, just a really good night. And, pleased to be there to represent Gator Bait. And, it just a lot going on. I mean, we got you guys. I heard you guys talking about basketball, and I think basketball is going to filter into softball and baseball. And this summer, if all goes well, this summer is going to be really exciting because people are going to be fired up for the first game of the season for sure.
Scott, as he's talking, Franz, about this guy in glowing terms, I think about how blessed Florida's been to have Danny Werfel, Tim Tebow, the guys who rise above, a cut above the average everyday guy. This guy looks like he might be that same kind of guy, Franz. He is really, really unique. And everybody talks about it. He's so level-headed. He's humble. He's very spiritual. And he's gifted. And this is right in that same genre, Franz.
It is. And I think we also need to give a little bit of credit to Graham Mertz for being the extraordinary mentor who was humble enough to understand this guy's the future. I'm not the future. And Graham Mertz did the best he could, did a good job, I think. But I think years from now, we'll look back at this and say the best thing Graham Mertz did at the University of Florida was help to turn DJ Lagway into a superstar, because this kid has got a superstar mentality. And you look at the three guys who won the Heisman Trophy here. They had that superstar mentality, and it didn't just revolve around what they did on the football field. That it had to do with how they treated their teammates. You look at Steve Spurrier; his teammates still adore him, and he adores them. They're still so close. Same with Danny. Same with Tebow. These guys had what we call an it factor, and I think this kid's got it too. I think he understands that while he may be the single most important cog in this machine, he's just one part of it. And
Scott, how special is he, Scott? You were there for those other guys Franz mentioned.
Well, he's got the entire package, that you want at that position. And, he comes in obviously with really good priorities. And I think the weekend, I was online, I think, when the news broke about him making the 6-figure donation to women's athletics.
Really?
And I'm thinking, man, we're totally in a different age of athletics. When your starting quarterback can make a 6-figure donation to women's athletics. So
it's amazing.
So, I give him a lot of credit for that because he didn't have to do that, obviously, but he wanted to, and it certainly endeared him even more to Gator fans. So the guy knows PR. I know that. And I think if he goes out and does the rest of what we think he's going to do on the football field, they're going to be talking about DJ Lagway for a long time in Gainesville, Florida. So I'm just looking forward to, seeing him take that next step in his career. But certainly the guy, you couldn't ask for him to get off to a better start in his first year on campus.
Yeah, Loren, from a coach's standpoint, what a dream, huh?
Yeah, you got everything. Obviously, when you got a guy that has all the physical intangibles, but then you combine that with, like you guys mentioned, the traits that made the Werfels, the Tebows, and others really good quarterbacks at the University of Florida. He's a coach's dream. And like I said, he was brought up right, has a great village. I think they would be the first to applaud Graham Mertz, like Franz said, so well to being the one to help him prepare, to be prepared for those last few weeks of the season when Graham was out and all of those things, and even dealing with some injuries as well. I think that, it's just been a blessing to have this young man, and he came in. The crew of guys like myself, Edgar Thompson, Mark Long, Kevin Brockaway were all standing there, and he stopped and shook hands with all of us, looked us in the eye. He wasn't just glad handing; he was there to really. So I think this is something that you're going to be motivated by the personal things. And I think this is really personal to him. I think this is a kid that, a lot of kids do. They say, well, when I make it big, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to buy a car. I think this is a young man that, in my observation, made a decision early in life that when he made it, he was going to help others. And I think that's the biggest thing you can do is, you can accomplish a lot, but the greatest accomplishment is to help others. And I applaud the young man for doing that. So I think that's going to be, I think it's just going to be big, and you can't beat that.
Can you put a plug in for Broken Down Sports Writers NIL deals?
Buddy, let me throw something in. The young man's out at softball games. He's got good reason to be out there, but you watch him, and
his girlfriend.
A lot of guys in his position would want to be off by themselves. Have a couple buddies that he's with and everything. Kids come by. He has something nice to say to them. He asks them questions that like, how are you doing? Are you here with your family? Where do you go to school? Little things that make, some 12-year-old kid, I guarantee you, is going to come out to some softball game because he's not going to meet DJ Lagway at a football game, but he's going to come out to some softball game and come up there and shake his hand. And DJ Lagway is going to say, hey, do you play football? Where do you go to school? And he's going to ask these questions. This 12-year-old kid's going to go away feeling like he's worth $1 million. And it may be a turning point in his decision to play football or something like that, or do something in his career. He may turn out to be a guy that says, if this guy can be nice to me, I can be nice to other people too. Little things like that matter.
Yeah, he was nice to me one time too. He came by and said, "Hey, buddy, did they wear helmets when you played?"
I mean, that's a good question. It's well researched and good
obviously
question.
didn't help any, that's for sure. Hey guys, thanks a lot. Great job. Thanks, Loren, for coming on tonight. I know you got it right. And Franz, don't forget now, Franz is going to be going to play b-ball here. So let's see if we can get him people want to sponsor it, call me or let me know. We got some great deals. A couple of people are looking at the proposals. Got to get Franz out and about. Mr. Gator Basketball is going to go cover stuff. Scott, are you going up, Scott, to Nashville?
No, I'm going to just stay here and do spring football. Chris is going to be up there. So he's, but I will definitely be paying close attention.
Yes, you will.
Well, we got number 1 softball against number 3 softball this weekend.
Yep.
Big time thing. Gymnastics senior night for the number 3 team in the country. The only team that's had 398 scores in the entire country. Even though the baseball team's out of town and the basketball team will be out of town, it's still going to be a big weekend on campus.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Appreciate a good show tonight. Appreciate your contributions, guys. Thanks, Loren, for making
it. Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Scott. Thank you, Franz. I'll talk to you tomorrow. All right. Thank you. All right, folks. I want to just wrap it up by telling you about my friends at Vinstar Medical Research. I say it to this point every night because so important that these people get recognition for what they do. They're great people. They have Gator roots. First of all, Joe Sorrentino is a big Gator fan, and his son Joey played for Urban Meyer, one of his favorite players. Joey now is a dentist in Ocala and Lady Lake. I'll be seeing him in a couple of days or weeks here. He's an excellent, really great guy, and he does great work. And by the way, the folks over there at Vinstar are really trying to help us improve our health. Mary Brantley, married to the great Scott Brantley, and Joe Sorrentino Sr. Were high school teammates or high school classmates down in Southwest Florida. And they got together and started this business and brought it to Ocala. They've been wonderful stewards of downtown business, supporting the community, supporting sports, supporting the Gators. And we do appreciate all they do for us. I want to remind you that you can help them by going to rentstar.net and see what they've got going in the way of trials. Clinical trials are the heart of their business because the data they get, they then put together, cobble together, and send off to these companies to determine what needs to be done in terms of prescriptions and how to base their prescriptions on our needs as a community. So if you can find your way, I appreciate it if you would look at RedStar.net, see what clinical trials they got coming up. If you could volunteer for one, it's very simple. It's pain-free. Takes a little bit of your time, but you get paid for your travel and your time. And it's a simple process of being a part of a group to study exactly how these medicines work, even though, of course, that you take doesn't. I just want to say thank you to all you do, folks, over there at RedStar, to Joe, to Mary, and the whole team at RedStar Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. Thank you for a good show tonight. Appreciate Shane jumping in there, and also our friend Scott Carter, Franz Beard, and of course our own Loren Meadows. Be checking him out over the next couple of days. I'll have a piece in tomorrow talking about what happened tonight at over at what happened to Spurrier tonight in the event they had there. It sounds like it was great. Again, doing the right thing, raise money for a good cause, and celebrating it and putting the money up for the women's program. Have a great night, folks. Enjoy it. Come back tomorrow night. Loren Meadows will be here. Got a lot of special guests for you. Right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching to the Buddy Martin Show.